In the sunlit kingdom of Phrygia was a famous king. His name was Midas. King Midas was a man of great wealth, power, and ambition. He was known far and wide for his immense treasures, his vast vineyards, and a passion for gold so intense it bordered on obsession. To the people of his kingdom, Midas was a paradox. He was a ruler of immense generosity who also hoarded riches with the greed of a dragon. Despite his wealth, Midas longed for more. Gold to him was not just wealth but a symbol of greatness. This desire for endless riches would soon lead him on a journey he would never forget. One fateful day, Midas found his vineyards in disarray. His servants discovered a peculiar sight amidst the grapevines. A strange creature was passed out drunk among the bushes. This creature was a satyr, creatures with the likeness of a man but the ears, horns, and legs of a goat. Rather than punish the intruder, Midas welcomed him. As it turned out, this satyr was a loyal follower of Dionysus. He introduced himself as Silenus. Silenus was harmless but mischievous. He was known for his wit and storytelling, but he often left chaos wherever he went. Undeterred by the rumors, Midas treated Silenus with kindness, providing him food, wine, and shelter for several days. Eventually, Dionysus got news of Silenus's whereabouts. The god then paid a visit to King Midas. When Dionysus heard of Midas's generosity towards Silenus, he decided to reward the king. The god of wine offered Midas a blank check. Midas could ask for only one thing, but it would be granted. This was a god's vow and it could not be broken. Without hesitation, Midas made his fateful request. "Grant me the ability to turn everything I touch into gold." Dionysus hesitated, for he saw the dangers of such a power. But Midas was insistent, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "As you wish," Dionysus said, waving his hand. But remember, great gifts often carry great burdens. The moment Dionysus left, Midas eagerly tested his newfound ability. He touched a nearby branch, and it transformed into solid gold, glittering in the sunlight. He touched the stones in his garden, the walls of his palace, even the fruits on his trees, each turned into radiant gold. Overjoyed, Midas felt like the richest man alive. The ground beneath his feet, the air around him, it all seemed to sing with the promise of eternal wealth. But the joy of the golden touch was short-lived. That evening, when Midas sat down to dine, he reached for a grape only to find it turn to gold in his hand. His bread became a cold, hard lump. His wine turned into a gleaming, undrinkable liquid. Panic began to set in. His servants avoided his touch in fear of being turned into golden statues. His gardens, once lush with life, became lifeless monuments of shimmering metal. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. This wasn't a gift, it was a curse. Midas isolated himself to avoid all life as he thought to prepare himself on how to adapt to this new life. As he hid himself, his only daughter, Marigold, walked into the house. She saw the glittering light of the golden garden, the golden staircase, and even golden seeds of rice. She knew of her father's desire for wealth and rushed to tell him of this strange development. "Father, you would not believe what I have just seen." Marigold rushed to her father's chambers. Midas was roaming around in the dimly lit room where his bed had turned to cold, shining metal. As he saw his daughter, Midas was relieved. The joy of his life was rushing towards him with a smile. But in that moment, he remembered the words of Dionysus. Great gifts often carry great burdens. Terrified by the potential meaning of those words, Midas shouted loudly, "Marigold, stay back." Too excited to listen, his little daughter ran into his arms in a bear hug. Midas felt in his hands as his beloved daughter turned to gold. He watched with tear-filled eyes as her smile froze in gold and her vibrant laughter was silenced forever. In an instant, Marigold was turned into a golden statue. King Midas was devastated. He wailed out in agony, All the gold in the world could not replace the warmth of his daughter's smile or the touch of her hand. Desperate to undo his folly, Midas prayed to Dionysus for help. The god who had foreseen this outcome appeared again. "Do you now see the folly of your wish?" Dionysus asked. With tears streaming down his face, Midas fell to his knees. "I was blind with greed. Take away this curse, I beg of you." Dionysus, moved by the king's genuine remorse, instructed him to bathe in the river Pactolus. There, the power of the golden touch would be washed away. Midas did as he was told, plunging his hands into the river. As the curse left him, the sands of the river turned golden. Upon returning home, Midas found that everything he had turned to gold, including his daughter, had returned to its natural state. He embraced her, vowing never to let his desire for wealth overshadow his love for the people he cared about. He renounced his obsession with gold, devoting himself to simpler pleasures. He spent his days tending his gardens, sharing his wealth with the poor, and listening to the stories of travelers who came to his court. The people of Phrygia noticed the change in their king and loved him all the more for it. In his humility, he sought the company of nature and found solace in the music of the wild. The story of the Golden Touch is a reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the importance of valuing what truly matters, teaching us that true wealth lies not in riches but in the love and relationships we hold dear.